Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. Today I'm here with a 4th annual book awards, which is very exciting to me, and I also kinda can't believe that it's the 4th year already. So the way that I host my book awards is just basically a video telling you which book I think throughout the year of 2019, this time around, deserves to win in a particular category. So I have 10 categories and there's gonna be only one book in each category. Actually, I think I cheated a tiny bit this year. For the majority of these categories, there's gonna be one book that won in particular. These are not the books that were released in 2019 necessarily. These are just the books that I have read in 2019. Now, I don't know if the goals and review video is already out or not at the time that you're watching this, but you might know that this year did not go that well. There was a lot of, like, a very high percentage of books that I have read I found kind of disappointing for my personal taste. This was actually the most challenging awards prep I've ever had, but I think I'm happy with my choices. I think some of you will agree, at least with a couple. If you want to watch the ones from 2016, 17 and 18, I will link those down below for you to watch. I will definitely not be watching that myself because it is, have you ever tried watching a video of yourself that's a couple years old? Because it ain't that fun. I think let's just start. If you have followed me for a while now, you know that I am not a very emotional reader. I'm an emotional person and I'm an emotional TV watcher to an extent, but I am not a very emotional reader unless there's like animals or elderly involved, and I don't know, that just kind of gets me. Overall, I'm not that emotional, so this is always a fairly hard category for me to fill. But I think I am going to go with Hero of Ages, which is the very last book in the first era of Mistborn trilogy, simply because of the very end. I didn't cry, but I found the whole journey and the whole revelation and the kind of like plot twist fairly emotional. If you have read it, you probably will agree. You know that Brandon Sanderson does the endings really well, and I think that he just knows how to end the book well, and this is definitely not an exception. I know that Mistborn is technically not ended, but this particular story is, and this is the main trilogy. I had complicated feelings with this, and so spoiler, it's not gonna win the best book overall, just because the first half of this book was somehow a struggle, even though I was already very invested in the trilogy. But the second half of the book, oh, so good. So good. The whole series follows a group of people who are trying to overthrow the current government, and magic based on a certain metal involved. The magic system is really clear, so if you like having clarity on how things work in this world, you will love this book. There are certain elements like the repetition of certain words that comes along with that kind of system, because there's a lot of pushing and pulling. So but if that doesn't bother you and you really like the clarity and you really like a really nice world building and some really likable and complex characters, there's quite a lot of humor as well. I don't think that this is driven by humor. There is some humor in this. I wouldn't necessarily say that the females were done particularly well in this book, but overall a very great story, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I cannot wait to read more. And I'm happy that I actually finished this trilogy this year, because oof. Definitely recommend also for people who are new to high fantasy or new to Sanderson, because he just writes really simply. Like, I know it looks daunting because it's so massive, but trust me, it's a good place to start. But yeah, because of something that happened at the end, obviously I can't tell you what exactly, because that would just be the whole point of reading the books, but I thought it was fairly emotional, and it definitely needed to win something. I feel like it's a significant enough book for me to have it in the awards, because it won't win the overall one. And actually, I felt like I haven't read too many that really stood out to me. I went for an answer that might be a little bit surprising, but this is My Brother's Husband, which is a manga. It's all about a man who has, I think, like a 10-year-old daughter who actually had, not a daughter, the man, had a identical twin who has moved away from Japan and went to live in Canada, and he also came out as gay and had a husband. However, he has passed away. The husband travels to Japan because he always wanted to travel with his now deceased husband, and meets his family, so basically meets this main character, hence the name My Brother's Husband. However, the way that the culture is in Japan is very kind of like unaccepted in subdued ways when it comes to homosexuality, and we also have this 10-year-old's perspective who just kind of is discovering everything, and she just takes it for what it is and doesn't have the prejudices that he already has from the society point of view, and it's about him changing his perspective. And I just thought, like, I know that the concept is not new whatsoever or unique, but I just thought that it was really, really nicely done. It was just very heartwarming. I personally really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a unique approach. Maybe it's just the culture difference, but for me it was a unique approach, and I really enjoyed it, so highly recommend as well. I literally binged, well, I said binge, there's 2 volumes, but I got the second one right after, literally the same evening that I got the first one on Kindle, and I was just like, I need to read more, and the second one is even better. Category number 3 is a fandom worthy book. This just means that it's something that you read and then you kind of want merch for it. It's pretty easy category, it's nothing deep about it, but I think this time around I had to go for the Folk of the Air series, and particularly the Queen of Nothing. Well, not really, just the whole series. I read the second and the third one in 2019, and I really like the series. There's nothing super groundbreaking about it. I feel like this is a very, very nice, quick, not wordy whatsoever read. So if you want to have a break from very descriptive novel types, or just want, like, I don't want to say like a fling, but it is kind of a little bit like a fling, but it's all set in this fae world that is adjacent to the muggle world. And so there's 3 sisters, there's 2 twins and the older sister, and the older sister was actually the daughter of this man that comes in and basically murders their whole family and takes them to Faeland. And the Faeland is very, very cruel. They do not mess around. They're somewhat similar to humans, but also very, very different. They don't really beat around the bush. They're just cruel, straightforward, and it's about her trying to adjust to it and also gain some influence in the world, because they're also very political. The whole series is actually a little bit political, but it's also like a tease because there's this really hate to love romance. There's a lot of that, and if you're a fan, I'm actually like, this is one of the tropes that I don't usually mind. Yeah, I quite actually like it. It's a very easy book to sort of fan over. I wouldn't say that I was like really, oh my god, I need to have everything that this author came out with, but I just thought it probably fitted the category the most from the reads of 2019. It's just a Rick and Morty comic. It's based around the D&D campaign. If you watch Rick and Morty, you know the sort of humor. There's not much to say about it. It's obviously supposed to be humorous, so it is the most humorous book of 2019, especially because it didn't really have a lot of competitors. So we're just gonna smoothly move on to another one. Now this is the one that I said I'm gonna cheat a tiny bit, but if I'm going like strictly through the books that I have read, I'm gonna have to go with Descender, in particular Descender number 6, because, okay, so there's a whole galaxy around here and then a blob of white and a tiny boy floating here. I don't even know if you can see it, but it's there. And I think this also just speaks so much about what the series is about, how the series wraps up, and it's such a silent, like a vacuum image, but it speaks volumes. And I actually really, really love the design of this. The whole series is just absolutely stunning, but this cover in particular just really spoke to me, and I really love it. The reason that I'm saying that I'm cheating a tiny bit here is because I am in the middle of another book that I haven't finished yet, so I technically haven't finished it in 2019. So it might even appear in 2020 awards, but I have to give it a mention because what if it doesn't? And the cover hands down would win, and it's funny because I actually have the dust jacket here, so literally just the cover, but it's the Starless Sea. I mean, come on, it has the golden foil, but like a matte golden foil. It's supposed to look like an old book, and oh my god, I just love it. The bee, the tones, the whole design, I absolutely love it. It's helping that it's also a good book so far. Definitely, hands down, the best one was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Honestly, when you read this, you forget that this is a fictional character. You literally just live in the life of Evelyn Hugo, live through all of this era in Hollywood when everything looked like it's just glamour, but there's a lot of stupid prejudice things happening in the background. It also speaks about living as a non-heterosexual celebrity behind the scenes, and it's just so packed with so much goodness. I definitely highly recommend, even if you don't think that contemporary is your kind of thing, because it's not necessarily the genre that I jump to, but this one was so good. I definitely think it's worth the hype, and I just had such a brilliant time. Also, I 100% recommend the audiobook. The narration, it's a full cast as well, but the narration is so good. Couldn't stop listening. It was amazing. I really highly recommend this. Number 7 is the best comic, and that's hands down Descender, and I have just finished it this year, and I'm gonna move on to another like continuation, Ascender. Very excited about it. This is about a planet that gets attacked by these monstrous mechanical robots, but they don't really know what's happening, if they're gonna attack them, if they're gonna survive. But this is already like a society where robots are integrated, or AIs actually, like artificial intelligence is integrated into the society, but they are still kind of treated as a bit lesser. And these robots arriving really kind of sparks a civil war between the AI and also organics. And it's a really beautiful story. I highly recommend it. I mean, like, if this is not your first video on my channel, you'll know that any chance I have, I push the series, so I highly recommend that as well. This year actually wasn't that hard because, as I said, I only had a couple 5 stars, but one of them was An Ember in the Ashes. Now, actually, from all of the 5 stars, I don't really feel that particularly strongly about it. None of them were like top shelf 5-star, but this one was fairly close to it, and I really enjoyed my time reading it. An Ember in the Ashes is all about this girl that loses her family, and her brother is imprisoned in this really corrupt world, and she has to go undercover and infiltrate the military pretty much to find information on how to get her brother out of the kind of like political prison. She meets some allies, she makes some enemies, and it all just kind of goes tits up. But I really enjoyed it, and I really want to continue with the series. I did actually start the second one, but it's not going that well, and I kind of stopped, and I'm waiting for a better time to maybe approach it again. At the time that I was reading this one in particular, I really enjoyed it. I rooted for the characters. I just had an overall good time, and I think it's gonna win the best fantasy, although again, obviously the Hero of Ages was close. Was just like a different kind of experience to me this year, so it takes the medal, although we're not actually giving any medals here. Recursion. I feel like in 2020 I'm just gonna do my best to read more Blake Crouch, even though I don't think that he's published that much. But oh my god, whenever I pick up his book, I mean, I suppose it's only been twice now, but Dark Matter and Recursion are one of my absolute favorite books. Recursion has been such a bloody journey, and it came into my life at the moment that I really needed it. I was really struggling with books. I was really struggling with reading because it would take me so long to get through anything. And this I sat and I could not put down, and I just love it so much. It's all about, you know what, I really don't like explaining Blake Crouch's books because I feel like you should really go into it blindly, but it is similar in a sense to Dark Matter. It deals with messing with timelines and dark outcomes, and it's not, the only tiny bit is that, like, I thought that maybe the ending could have been a bit different. I don't want to say how because I don't want to spoil it, but that was the only tiny bit. But overall, I really enjoyed it so much, and I cannot wait. I hope he's releasing something in 2020. Please someone tell me he's releasing something in 2020. I loved it so much. I know they're getting fairly predictable because it's like kind of, when he writes something, I feel like there's always like a template of sorts. But you know what? If he just changed it up a bit, I'm still gonna take it because I'm such a fan of that kind of genre. So I loved it, recommend it if you read Dark Matter and liked it. I actually think this is better than Dark Matter. Happy that I read that. And actually, this wins the number 10. Best overall. This is a best overall book I read in 2019. I just enjoyed it so much. There were a couple like twists and turns and like changes in the plot and things that you just sit and like, oh my god, like, oh, that is rough, you know? And I like when a book induces that emotion in me, so if you actually have similar books in mind, please leave them down below in the comments because I would love to read more similar books to this kind of genre. in 2020. So please let me know. And on that note, that's actually everything. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite videos to make ever. If you want to, also leave your answers down below to all of these categories, and if you can't be bothered to do that for all of them, at least leave the one that's like the winner overall. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay awesome, stay kind, and I'll see you very soon in the next one. Bye!